Right, welcome back again. So, here we are. Excuse the piss poor lighting, it's evening here and I still haven't bothered to buy some sort of light in this corner of the room because I'm surrounded by three monitors. I like the way to count three. I'm an imbecile and can't get that high normally without fingers. You would have thought there'd be light coming this way, but there's not. So I will buy a light at some point. A few follower things to shout out, so bear with me while I prattle through this seemingly growing list. Conan, Jay, Eason, cheers buddy. He also recently joined Misfunction 44 for his crimes against humanity. Roger Pistas, cheers. Molly Holloran, thank you. Kilimanjaro 808, thank you very much. Barney Storer, cheers buddy. SS Grenadier Jaeger, thank you for the follow. Syraphob 3485, thank you. Joseph Coppers, thank you. Dikwa, which you have to say with a silly accent because that's just looks like it should be said like that. Thank you. Florence Corwin, thank you very much. Ricky Diamond, cheers bruv. Darren Coxall, thank you. Dan Fennell, thank you very much. Daniel Gill, lots of Dans, cheers buddy. Chiripo Achilles, I'm sure they're making these names up to try and make me say weird things, thank you very much. Chris Mayhew, cheers buddy, thank you, long time no speak. Interesting fact about Chris Mayhew, he owns the first copy out of the box of the very first book that I ever wrote. Worth an absolute fortune, obviously, by now, due to my fame and fortune. You're fucking kidding. It's probably worth less because I signed it and wrote copy number 1 on the cover as a bit of a joke. Thank you, Chris. Right, so that now can go in the bin. It's been sat on my 80 seconds. What do you mean? Sam Brown belt for a few days while I wrote that list out. Breaking news, exciting stuff. Baz Pond from GI 4445 Living History Group, exciting news, says Patch King patches are rubbish. Don't forget, folks, Patch King patches are rubbish. Yeah, I know. Moving forwards, let's put that bit of paper up there because I need that. So I've had loads and loads of links to watch and react to for whatever reason you guys like me doing this. So I've loaded the first link up. It's behind me at the moment, so I will squiz me out the way in a second. It's only a 10-minute video, so we should get through that fairly quickly as long as there's nothing too absurd. It's not a normal one, it's somebody talking about the hobbies, so should be an interesting perspective. Also have some guests planned to come in, and I'll have to make room next to me somewhere to talk about the hobby, outsiders' perspectives on the hobby and trying to get their head around what on earth we do and why we do it. Ex-military folks coming in to also try and understand why we do what we do and their thoughts on it, which should be quite interesting to know if they know what they've let themselves in for. I think that's all that's sort of ping, ping, ping. That's all I can hear in my ear. Sort of planned, except for obviously going to Normandy, the photo shoot at Duxford. As I've got a few patches to hand, I just did. What are they? Oh, they're very dark. That's what they are. Oh, brilliant. Yes, no, you can just about see them. Ignore the white stitching. That just shows where to cut them. They're small Highland Division British things. I made them with instructions from somebody because I don't know a goddamn thing about British stuff, but they look quite cool. Somebody was asking for post World War One, pre World War Two ranks with the different trades. So you've got US AAF, and then I've started doing some of the other ones. So probably nobody would ever want the baker's sergeant or the sergeant, the bakery sergeant or sergeant of bakeries. Who knows? I can't remember what it's called. But there's also a corporal version. There's a staff sergeant version of all of these. There's ordnance versions. There's medical versions. I've got to design the rest of them, but there will be a whole mountain of ranks coming off. I mean, I'm not going to say anybody's going to want these, but if they do, at least they're available now. So there's the Air Force Sergeant. PFC 6 grade, 2nd grade. There's the bakery corporal, PFC 1st grade, and then the staff sergeant for bakeries. And again, I haven't cut them out because, you know, it's a pain in the ass, but I'll get round to it when I've done the rest. Patches are still progressing through infantry divisions from 1 to 156. I did some 91st today, so that's all moving forwards. No top secret information to reveal in this video. I'll have to do that in another one. Anyway, let's crack on with the review. Let me shrink me down and jam me over here, maybe. I'm going to make him full screen. Boom! There we go. Right.
Hi there everyone, my name is Zach and welcome to my channel. Amongst other things, I am a reenactor and a jouster, and today I want to talk to you about the difference between reenactment and living history.
Okay. Because a lot of people use those terms interchangeably. Some swear they are the same thing. Others have a pecking order, you know, from promenaders to reenactors to living history. Yeah, for me it's living history is one step up from reenacting. Reenacting you could do during the day and bugger off to a hotel in the evening, and then come back and do it all over again. Living history is, you know, it's a bit more sleeping in the field, living rough, and, you know, getting your hands more dirty.
Now I talk about these two things in my videos, and some people kind of use them interchangeably. But to my mind, a reenactment and living history are two different, very similar, but different things. And I hope that maybe by using these kind of definitions and being specific about it, we can help people to think about things more clearly.
Good.
So, one comment that I've had on a recent video was that reenactment, you should always try and be as authentic as possible in reenactment. Okay?
Yeah, obviously.
Now,
if you don't, you're trailing down the pecking order to you know, farby, promenading, peacocking. So yeah, I mean, whatever you do, you should be at least aiming to be reasonably decent.
This was my opinion a while ago, and I generally came away from most events just kind of feeling a little bit sad, especially when the photos started coming out.
Oh yeah.
Because I would be doing my best to be as authentic as possible all the way through, and then especially in the big events, you know, the battle reenactments, I'd just be looking at things and going, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, and.
Yeah, you even have to look at the advertising that some of the shows they use of the reenactors that they put on the posters, on the flyers, and in the magazines. You're just thinking, why on earth did you choose those? You know, they can be wearing post-war garbage. They just, sometimes you just have to scratch your head. It just shows that some of the show organisers are fairly clueless as to what reenactors, living historians should actually look like, and as long as it's a nice pretty picture, that'll do. Oh, play please.
That's natural. If your idea is that every reenactment, everyone must be as authentic as possible, that's what you're going to do. You're going to be looking for where someone is wrong. Even in small events, this can be a big thing. I still remember I was walking around a small event, and I walked up to someone, and I was having a drink, and they the first thing, before they'd even said hello, this is a different reenactor, they didn't know me at all. They just said, that tankard's a couple of 100 years out of date, isn't it?
Now obviously he does something very different than our sort of time period, but yeah, I mean, you know, you could accuse me of being a complete, you know, picky arsehole in these videos, but it depends how that person said that comment. Was it an attempt at humour and it came across piss poor, or was it an attempt to educate. I get the impression from his reaction that it was a bit of a piss take and a bit of a dig. It just goes to show you this sort of arsehole culture is universal regardless of time period and nation in this hobby.
And it's just like, it's such a divisive thing. Immediately my head just like clocked his entire outfit, and I thought, right, that's wrong. Immediately he was on the aggressive, I was on the aggressive, and that all comes from this whole idea that everything must be fully authentic all the time. Now, this isn't to say that we shouldn't strive for authenticity.
Yep.
But I feel that we should put very clear expectations on what an event is. So my differentiation between reenactment and living history is my attempt to do just that. You see, a reenactment, to my mind, something maybe like a big battle or something like that, is a historical event that aims to give a show to the public.
Yeah.
And not
I mean, the word itself, you are a reenactment, you are reenacting some specific thing. And I think the definition of that word has got twisted and warped into almost being meaningless, into doesn't have to be a unit, doesn't have to be a place, doesn't have to be a specific person. It can just be dressing up. And I think it's just got lost over time that this term reenactment, to reenact something, it's just gone out the window.
Everything in that show is going to be completely authentic. Especially if we're talking about battlefield reenactments, they're using...
Yeah, don't even get me started on the awful quality of battles at shows, because they are just a joke.
Blunt weapons, the guns aren't actually shooting anyone,
luckily.
One's dying, the numbers on the battlefield are far too small. So all of these things we are aware of, the public is aware that these things are just things that we buy into, okay? They are
I mean, that you can't help those. You can't have, 1,000 troops in a battle. It would be unmanageable, and organising that would be utter chaos. People are going to get hurt. The public couldn't watch every single one of them anyway, so it would almost be wasted.
Not authentic. It is not going to be 100% authentic.
Yep.
And because everyone is aware of that, that's
accepted.
okay, because people will be looking at something and they will go, okay, this is a rough idea of what a medieval camp will look like, but I can't take it as completely accurate that this is what this is.
I mean, the smells wouldn't be that, the stench and the stink, the numbers, the hustle and bustle. That you can't replicate that with small numbers of people. It's just not possible. But as he says, it gives you an idea of what it would look like.
Okay. Now, what I think the organisers of these events need to do is they need to be clever about how they do things. And when working on films, directors do certain things to save money and to create a better show. So they will have hero props, and then they will have stunt props, and then they will have extras props.
Okay, I think I know where he's going to go with this. Yeah, we all know, the guys at the front of like Band of Brothers, Pacific, they have deactivated or blank firing M1 Garands. Then you go like one step backwards, where you've got the sort of not really the extras, but one sort of step up where they have something like a Denix, and the guys right at the back have those rubber prop guns. So I think he may be going down the route of why aren't reenactors like this in battles? So you've got the guys that are top notch, they look the absolute dog's bollocks at the front where the public can see them right in their eye. Then you've got the guys that aren't quite as authentic, just set slightly further back, and you progress further on till you've got the dross, the farbtastic orange wonders as far as possible. I think that's where he's going with this, which actually makes sense. How you organise and effectively police that, I don't know, because what group wants to be classed as tier 1 at the front sort of qualifying, and you're tier 3 and you're tier 10, you are have to be hidden as far from possible. Is anybody gonna buy into the being classified in such a way? I mean, if that was the way the organisers did it, then they'd have to. But yeah, I don't know. I think there'd be quite a lot of resentment. But then hopefully it might up people's games as well. You know, I want to be at the front. I want to be one of the best. It might drive people. Yeah, who knows?
And in many cases, these are deteriorating in quality the further they go away from the camera. Okay, so if you are organising a reenactment event and you are creating a battlefield, deploying your troops and your various groups in specific places can be really helpful. It can bring more people to your event. It can give you a bigger show. It can give more of an idea of how many people would be on the battlefield. And if you deploy them correctly, then the most authentic representations will be closest to the viewing public, and your hero props, as you will. And then you can have your stunt props in the middle ground where it's mostly okay but not 100%, and then the beer and bash guys, the guys at the other end of the battlefield.
Did he say beer and bash? That's awesome. Obviously this is coming from a medieval, you know, sword fighting, axe wielding. I love that. That's a brilliant term. We need a beer and bash for the sort of, you know, just come in for the battles sort of thing. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, beer and battle. That'll do.
Who have a rough idea of what the battle is about, but really are just there to have a good time with their mates. And in this kind of way of being intentional about it and being critical about how you do these things, you can actually create a better event. And
Absolutely.
you can do the same thing when you're working out living history encampments. Okay, so you can say you know, you can camp in this field. This field is the living history field. This field is where everything needs to be 100% authentic. Okay, this field over here is your opportunity to go and sit in a field and chat with your mates.
And depending on how the land is that's being used, you can also do the encampments the same way. Like you have a long thin stretch at the front for the good guys, the guys with the decent impressions, and just behind that you have the guys with the almost good impressions, and then behind that you have the dross that can still be seen, but you know, but that depends how the layout of the land works, you know.
The public aren't really going to be coming this way, so don't worry about being authentic. Okay, so that's down to the event organizer to try and do that. And many event organizers are doing this now. They're being
I don't know anybody that does, but yeah, good. We said when we first founded Mistrop 44 that, you know, we all pitch up to these events and we all build our own little mini, you know, displays, dioramas, scenarios, whatever you want to call them, and it's almost like there's an invisible fence around your diorama where, unless you're going to the toilet or the burger van or the shower or the bar, you don't leave that. You don't talk to anybody else. Even if the group next to you is doing exactly the same unit, that invisible wall, you know, thou shalt not cross, thou shalt not talk to the neighbours. And it's such a shame when we're all in the same hobby, and when you've got two really good groups next to each other, wouldn't it be a lot better to communicate prior to this and do a bigger, busier, more comprehensive scene than two that are almost the same but separated by signage, effectively.
Very intentional about it, and they're being very careful to make sure that their reenactment of a battle is being displayed in the best way possible. That's not with everyone 100% authentic, but it's trying to bring the authenticity and the higher authenticity groups to the forefront, and those that are there to have a good time, having them kind of in the background and making up the numbers and still taking part and being an important part, but not presenting their inaccuracies as authentic. Okay, so that is what I would term as reenactment. Then I've got a different idea in my head, which is living history. Okay, now these events tend to need to be an awful lot smaller. Really, this is
why smaller? I'm trying to work out where he's going with this. Why do they need to be smaller? I have no idea. Why would living history need to be smaller? Surely if it's bigger, you've got more capability to do things. Looking at the, was it the 100th Infantry Division, the Nisei guys that are out in like Japan or Korea, where they build a whole field kitchen. They have the signals guys stringing lamps. They have the guys doing lessons. They have the guys. I mean, literally, they did everything. They did pay, and because there's so many of them, they did it all really, really, really well, despite not speaking English and having to learn English as a second language.
It's kind of going to be people with a like mind getting together to create something that is very, very specific. Now, this could be for the public, but in many ways, these things tend to work better without an audience, actually, because simply the presence of an audience can take away from the effect of a living history event.
I can see what he's getting at there, because the public will just butt in and go, "Excuse me, mate, is that a real fire? Well, you're going to eat that." And then you leave sort of character in what you're doing to answer moronic questions, and then once you've got rid of Joe Idiot, you can carry on doing what you're doing. So I sort of get that. Again, don't really like doing it for fun. Or we started off by forming the group in COVID. We used to meet in my old fields, and that's how the group was founded. Pardon me. But since then, we've only done public events.
A living history event is where everyone tries to be as authentic as possible, and very often this can go into the night time as well. Staying in kit through the night, and making sure that you're in kit kind of all the way down. Every part of your kit is completely authentic. Now,
see, that's where we draw the lines of sanity. I mean, we do what we do for ourselves, obviously, first, and then second for the public. Once the public have gone, I don't expect anybody to be uncomfortable, cold, wet, miserable, because next morning you've got to wake up and entertain the public all over again. I mean, if guys want to sleep, with a raincoat over them and a wool blanket, you crack on, guys. Absolutely fully support you. You go for it. However, I will be sleeping on the ground in a modern sleeping bag with a wool blanket over the top of that. Nobody can see that. Nobody knows except everybody I've just told. So forget that from your memory. But we've got our main man who cooks us all the food on his little box on a massive pot and shovels it into mess tins, and so when you wake up, it's back to a living history sort of style again. And as soon as the public are around, we're back doing what you should be doing.
Obviously, you can't get complete 100% authenticity.
Absolutely.
Ever. Okay.
No, absolutely. And I think that's a lot of things. That's a statement that a lot of people forget, and they claim that they are totally authentic, where that is just a statement which is not possible for many, 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 many reasons. I mean, the obvious ones being size, fitness, weight. Nobody is the same size as they were then. People have got bigger over time. And I don't mean just, pot-bellied. They've just got taller, their feet have got larger. So you cannot be authentic. I don't care what anybody says. You can be as close as possible, or as close as sanely possible, but you cannot be totally.
What I'm saying is a living history event is one where everyone needs to buy into the idea that authenticity is the main goal.
Absolutely.
And a reenactment event is where people are buying in to the idea that putting on
a show.
good show
Yes. Yeah.
is the main goal. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I
there's
like
two
it, yeah.
very different things. And if you're aware of that, okay, and if everyone going to the event is aware of that, then actually that helps an awful lot. Okay, it means that people aren't turning up to a big battle and getting disappointed because someone in the background is wearing a bassinet. Okay, it means that people,
Whatever that is. The hell is a bassinet? Anybody?
going to a living history event, know that the standard is high and that they need to really do their absolute best, pull out all the stops, and if someone pulls them up on something, that's their own lookout, because they signed up for the 100% authenticity. The very best of things. So
Oh yeah, if you're told, if you're coming to this event you need to have X, Y, Z, and you turn up without one of those, what do you expect? Yeah. But people are always amazed by that. If you say you have to do this and you don't do it, and you go, why have you done that? Oh, I didn't think I had to, I didn't want to. Well, then you know what you can do. Foxtrot, Oscar, somewhere else. And people are blindsided by that. Like, they should be the exception. They should be able to do whatever they like. It's amazing.
So yeah, that is... those are my two definitions: living history and reenactment. Okay.
Yeah, I like it. It makes sense.
I don't know. Is this something that you guys have come across at all? Do you think this is helpful?
I do. I think it's very helpful. It makes those two terms have proper meaning and structure, because a lot of people just use them interchangeably. And even in the 101st book that we did, I use the term reenacting for both, and I specify this at the start because it's just easier than writing reenacting and living history. I just say they're very different, but I'm just going to call this all reenacting in this book.
I think that maybe I'm kind of thinking about this too much. That's something.
No, it's good.
Do let me know in the comments down below. Do please like, share and subscribe. It's been so encouraging to have so many of you leaving comments and likes and all of that. It's really, really great. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for helping the channel grow, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.
Right, let's definitely give it a like. Absolutely. Where's the comments? I was sent the link to this video to watch and react to. Loved the content. It all makes perfect sense and gives a truer, more sensible meaning to the two terms. I hope all my lads in MD44 will start, for God's sake, oh fuck off, to use those the same way. Great video, great work. There we go. Oh, apologies. Yeah, it was a nice positive video. I don't know who sent me the link. I always forget to write these things down. Apologies, whoever sent me the link. Thank you very much. That was really good. That was really good. Anyway, I'm killing it now because that's a 10-minute video has lasted half an hour again. Right, until next time. Laters.